Are you finally trying to stop doom scrolling for once and for all? If so, watch until the end of this video to see all of my tips on how I personally stopped doom scrolling and how you can do the same thing as well. Do you ever open social media thinking you have good intentions? Maybe you intend to post content, look at specific people's accounts, or search for a specific idea. Whatever the case may be, you go into an app with a plan, and then within a few minutes, you end up scrolling. Maybe the first few posts are actually informational and they're relevant to you, but within a few scrolls, you realize, or maybe you don't even realize right away, and I will get into that later in this video, you realize this isn't actually relevant to me. However, you continue to scroll, and now you're wondering, how do I get out of this? Are you in a constant loop of being free from social media, only to then a week, couple weeks, maybe even a few days later, spend 30 minutes, an hour, multiple hours on social media again when you fall into the trap of having intention and then losing your train of thought and bam, your time is gone? If so, you've come to the right place. You're not broken. You're not disciplined. I'm not here to sell you a plan. I genuinely hope this helps some people, and I'm going to share all my tips right now. So without further ado, let's get started. Tip number 1, and this is for anybody who has yet to do this step. This is going to sound very obvious, but delete social media. And I mean delete the apps off your phone, log out of any of the accounts on your browser apps. I would honestly go as far as to say set app timers or completely disable browser apps, which actually leads to a second part of this, which is that I truthfully believe that we Google things too much. You know, you used to have to actually sit with something, and I actually saw this in a recent New York Times article and found it really enlightening because I'd had the thought, but I hadn't fully thought about it yet. It's about the fact that people used to be bored, and now nobody wants to sit with being bored. Nobody wants to sit with not knowing, with not completing a train of thought or a project, which isn't about, oh, I don't get things done. It's about the fact that you can't sit with watching a movie and being like, I think I know who that person is, but then you immediately Google it. Instead of actually sitting with it and maybe letting yourself remember it later, you immediately Google it. It's always, I Googled it. And I genuinely think that is a downfall of your ability to recall information. Another thing I would add is let yourself sit with not knowing, which has been extremely hard for me because I'm a massive Googler, but I actually have set timers to make sure that I don't spend too much time. For me, I've set it at around 10 minutes, and I've set it for both my email on my phone, although I'll get to this later on how I'm going to be getting rid of my phone. Back to the point of the video. But I've set a screen timer for my phone on email and the internet, and both for 10 minutes, because I've also noticed I will spend time in my email. And that's how I know that it's not necessarily a discipline problem. When I will go as far, and maybe you will do this as well, so I'm going to be very transparent, when I will go as far as looking at my email to see if I have anything interesting, that shows that it's not just social media, it's also this searching for entertainment. Tip number 2, ask yourself what you're actually looking for when you re-download an app or log into it on a browser. What is it that you actually want? Find that answer. Think about it. Actually give it a little bit. I promise you this will not take that much time. Just think about what you're actually looking for, like a minute or two, maybe even only 30 seconds. It really won't take you that long. This one extra step could save you a lot of time. Think about what you're actually looking for. Then, after you've done that, you can open the app. Maybe make sure that you have a app timer or that you check the time before you open the app. That's something I do a lot. I have an app timer set, but because it's so easy to, unless you have a specific app, it's so easy to just click, I'll add more time, especially if you get wrapped up in something. Maybe you even find it important enough to press add more time. Make sure that you check what the time is on the clock before you open the app, so that then in the corner of your screen, as you're watching what you're watching, you can see, oh, it's already been 8 minutes, it's been 15 minutes, it's been 20 minutes. you have to sit with that and see that. And while that isn't always a guaranteed stopper, it at least can bring you back to reality. If you have already done these steps and you're thinking, I'm doing everything right, why am I still falling into this trap? The end of this video is for you, and I will put that in the timestamps in this video. Number 3, if you really need to go a step further, this is especially if you cannot get rid of your phone and maybe you even need to have social media apps, like if that's your job, whatever the case may be, if you need to have these apps downloaded but you want to spend less time on your phone, I would highly suggest the minimalist phone app. I'm not sponsored. I think that would be cool and all, but I am not. I think it's relatively cheap. You can try it for 24 hours. And I tried it for 24 hours and I really liked it. Like, I loved it. But because I already know that I'm going to replace my phone with something else that will cost relatively the same amount of money as the subscription, I decided against getting it. Although I think if I could have it right now, that it would be saving me time. So keep that in mind. Like, if you're going to replace your phone, maybe you wouldn't want to get it. But if you cannot replace your phone with a flip phone or something else, I would highly suggest this app. That's tip number 3. You should be able to get some of the free ones, and I do still think that those help. If you're able to, the minimalist phone is definitely top tier in my opinion. Number 4. Now you have the intention, you've uninstalled the apps, you have restrictive timers, but like I said in the beginning of this video, and this is where we're wrapping around, this doesn't always 100% guarantee you being free from the scroll. It's a shame, but it is what it is. And I have tried numerous times with just the last 3 tips. I've struggled with this for like a good 2 years now, and I struggled with this before that, but I didn't see a problem with it because I was quite a bit younger, so my view of apps and phones was a lot different. If my mom said, it's that phone, I highly disagreed. Now I am older and I can see that they were right. It's that damn phone. They do help a lot, the last few tips, in reducing screen time. And if that is your main goal, if you're looking to spend an hour, maybe less than an hour on your phone each day, and that is enough for you to feel good, and that is your goal, then those first few tips, those are probably enough for you, and maybe you just want to stop the video here. However, if you're like me and being on a device at all uses time that you literally do not have due to your schedule, so it means that you're losing sleep or you're losing time that could have been spent reading or doing a hobby or spending time with friends, and you're using that time on your phone instead, or you're telling yourself, I don't have time for X, Y, and Z, hobbies, friends, whatever. You don't have time for those things because you're dedicated to all these must-dos like work, school, etc., etc. You have dedicated yourself to these things, but then you take a step back and recognize that 30 minutes an hour is actually spent on your phone, maybe even more, and you didn't even immediately recognize that. Or maybe you're studying, and I know this was me this last semester, you're studying, but then here and there you use your phone to Google some things, and maybe you look at a few YouTube videos, and you don't feel like it uses that much time because you do it during your studying breaks. But then your breaks don't feel like breaks, and you still are left with this feeling of just disgust. If that is you, these last few tips are for you. And my own personal experience coming to this realization is that lately I've been realizing that I've been stuck in the loop of feeling so good because I haven't used my phone, like I explained earlier in this video, and I haven't used social media, haven't accidentally went on YouTube Shorts, have perfect days where I feel amazing, and I get so much done those days, and I stick with my intention, and I feel extremely good about myself. I feel good about who I am showing up as. But then I lose it, and I would consider myself a pretty disciplined person. My credentials are that I have trained for and ran 2 marathons, and I'm currently almost 17, but I was 15 when I did that, going on 16. I was 15 and 16, so that's my credentials, and I did that independently. Little plug. But I still fell into this trap. You would think I would be a person that had it all together, but I still fell into this trap because I am also human, and that is part of what I'm trying to get at in this video, is that it's not a personal failure, it's your brain, and I'll link some studies to that as well. And I would ask myself why. I would be searching for an answer, I started to feel guilty, and I felt really frustrated with myself, and a lot of you are probably in the same situation, whether it be life, school, work, kids, etc. You are already tired, maybe even burnt out, overstimulated, overwhelmed, and at a biological level, you are inclined to do this. Inclined to find dopamine or an escape, especially if you're overwhelmed. Your brain is looking for an escape, it's looking for a little spark of happiness, and even though you can find that in other things like hobbies, and there's videos out there for stuff to do instead of being on your phone. But the thing is none of them are as easy as reaching for your phone. And that is what I'm looking to get at in this video. The problem isn't you, it is in fact how the human brain works. So instead of working against yourself, my goal here is to work with yourself. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. I've come up with some solutions to this problem, and that is what I'm going to spend the rest of this video sharing. Now, moving on to number 4. If possible, do what I'm about to do. Get a flip phone. I've been thinking about this one for a while now, and I've finally decided to make the change. You can find options where you can still text, you can still call, you can still have an alarm. You have everything that you actually claim that you need your phone for, and it's without the distraction of social media. In fact, you can still take pictures too. And if you need a better camera, I would say that at that point, especially what I'm going to do, is look into just getting a pretty basic camera. But even then, if that's really a concern for you, you could keep your phone for its camera usage. That might be a little bit of a risky situation, but it's still better than the alternative, if you really need your camera. My point being that then you won't have the distracting social media apps. Have you ever watched a Gilmore Girls episode, or any 2000s show for that matter, and wondered what it is about the show that felt so different? I finally put a finger on what it was for me. It's their lack of phones. It's the working on laptops for school and work, but not so much for games, which there are still some games, but again, it's not quite the same. It's the entertainment being watching movies, not distracted, but with family and friends, having a good time. It's the old landline phones and the aesthetic of flip phones being new and cool, but still just a form of communication with your inner circle. Connecting these thoughts made me realize what I really wanted. I wanted a flip phone. And part 2 of this is keep your laptop or other devices dedicated to a specific productive purpose. Or if they're for games, a specific fun purpose with intention, like I mentioned about the social media apps, because games can still be pretty addictive. I'm not personally a gamer, so I can't speak as much on that, but I would assume that you want to keep relatively the same idea of intention with a game. I would say it might even be a little harder because games are meant to give you a sense of completion. You're upgrading levels, you're doing this, but remembering that in the end they don't hold any external value except for entertainment. So it's still good to have intention and a limit when it comes to game as well, which I'm sure the gamers won't be really happy to hear that because some people really love to play games for hours, but maybe keep it to a minimum. I'm not going to add too much on that since I'm not personally a gamer. Number 5, getting towards the end. Once you've either A, restricted accesses on your phone, or B, took the route of the flip phone, now you're into the final phase. What to do with your time and learning to be bored. Whatever it might be, wherever you can find somewhere where you can sit in silence and boredom. Or if you can't even sit in silence, sitting in boredom and simply observing can be really, really, really good as well. And when you think about it, your nervous system takes in information constantly. It needs time to deload because it's taking in every single sound. It is retrieving all of this information and sorting through it to figure out what actually holds value, what you need to react to, and it does this in milliseconds, like no time, and then other stuff sits longer. And it's important to have time to deload and process that information so that you're not still up here when you need to get back down to your baseline. And you can even notice this if you take a nap or go to sleep. If you ended the day, for example, if you went to sleep, if you ended the day feeling really overwhelmed, you might wake up and maybe you're still a little stressed. You know, I'm not downplaying that, but you might wake up feeling a little bit less, I don't know a better word except yuck. You just feel a little bit less gross. I find that that's a big feeling for me. Whatever the feeling might be for you, you might wake up feeling a little better. That can actually come down to the fact that you've had time, your body has had time, your brain has had time to process these things. So if during the day, even if it's only a few minutes, you give yourself time to do that, that can actually be really helpful for getting through your day feeling less groggy. Part 2 of the final phase, filling your time. You'll start to notice even just small bits of time that you save, which can be great boredom moments like I mentioned before. However, there's also moments of larger chunks of time, like if you take a bus to school or work. What do you do with that time? If you are waiting for a doctor's appointment or waiting in general, what do you do with that time? If you're just sitting around, you don't really want to feel like you're wasting the time. Say it's a bigger chunk and it's like 30 or 40 minutes. You could use that as boredom time, but let's be real, a lot of people right off the bat could not use that as boredom time. I mean, they could, but it would be harder and there's a higher chance of failure. So something I would recommend is reading. And any book will do. It could even be something simple. Hell, make it a manga if you want to, a comic book. Anything like that, although a book would likely be a little bit more helpful. And even if you don't manage to read a lot of it, even just managing to read a little bit will 100%, I guarantee you, swear, pinky swear, it will make you feel better because you'll feel like you've actually accomplished something. Like you've actually gotten something done and you've also kept a promise to yourself. You have done what you told yourself you'd do. And on top of that, it's something you can cross off, I did this. And that is an extremely good feeling and it builds back self-trust, which I will get to at the very end of this video. And for a personal anecdote, just the other day, I was reading a book before my dentist appointment, and I only read about 10 pages because it was a more historical book read. And it was slower, it took more time, and I find that those books tend to irritate me just because it takes so much time to read one page. But I also think that's really valuable. And at the end of it, I didn't feel overstimulated. I didn't listen to music while I read, and I didn't feel like I had wasted time. And on top of that, most importantly, I had kept a promise to myself. Which brings me to my final conclusion. You need to build back self-trust. And a lot of this dread comes from the fact that each time you fail to stay off social media, you lose trust in yourself and in your own word. But maybe what you need is a shift of narrative to recognize it's not a personal failure, which doesn't mean don't take any ownership at all, but realize it's in your control to fix it. Think about what your ideal self would do and take action. If you're worried about people finding you odd or being out of touch, think about how much value being in touch and feeling like you're fitting in is really bringing you, compared to the negative feelings it's brought you. The time you have lost. At the end of the day, it does come down to the shift in mindset, the recognition of what it's really costing you to continue to fit in or keep up with what is on social media. And sometimes I understand that that might not even kick you out of it. I've been there. That's why I'm saying goodbye to my own smartphone, because it's not worth my mental health. And maybe that's what you need to do too. And as a final thought, I understand that for some people this is not obtainable. I'm not looking to bring shame to anybody or make anybody feel bad about themselves. All I want to do is try to help people. I'm going to be linking some studies in the description for anybody that wants to read more about this and the actual science behind it. And I'm also going to be linking any other videos that I think are really helpful on this subject that maybe gave some information that I did not or that I would not explain quite as well. I wanted this to be a shorter video so that anybody could watch it and hopefully get something out of it relatively quickly. I really hope that this helps you get back on the path that you're searching for. and I was hoping to spread some hope that you can in fact change too. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I want you to remember that you've got this. You're not broken. You're not failing. You just need to work with your brain instead of trying to work against it. And sometimes the best thing you can do is stop fighting yourself and just let something go. It's hard. It might not be possible. Again, like I said, this might not work for everybody. And then that's when I'd recommend some of those bridged tips that I mentioned earlier. Small steps can make a huge difference. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just need to let something go. And that's been a hard realization for me. And I'm still not quite sure 100% how I'm going to make it work. And maybe once I've done that, I will make a video on how I'm doing that in the future. But I really wanted to get this video out there because I thought it could help some people. I know coming to this realization has helped me quite a lot. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful day.